back to my channel. Today we are sitting on the floor with Jelly Bean and Bellaboo. These are my puppies who think that they run this channel, but really it's my channel. For today's video, we are going to do an unhaul. And some of these you might have seen in other unhaul videos. I unhaul books quite often. I always have books going on Pango Books. And I buy and sell and trade my books often. So if you've heard me talk about some of these, then sorry, just a little refresher. So it's kind of like what's on Pango Books right now and just what I'm not really interested in reading anymore. Some of these I have read though, so we'll just chill and talk about it a little. So I'm gonna let these guys go. We'll see, they might come back in here. But the first stack of books are these like little romance books. I spent $10 and I got this mystery box that had 100 books, maybe over 100 books, and a good portion of them were these kind of things that you can't trade because they don't really have any value. And I thought that I donated them all, but then I found a huge stack. So there are 20 books right here. I'm not going to go through all of them, but most of them are like romance books. Some are like love-inspired suspense, and some like cowboy mysteries or cowboy romances or whatever. They're just not my type of books, so I'm probably going to put these on Pango. I'm going to say all 20 of them for $2 or something. I don't think they will sell. I will probably end up donating them to like Goodwill or Savers or Value Village or something like that. But that's Alita from the Future's problem, not my problem. Do you see her? How she's just like, but mommy, I want to be with you. So we're going to try and do this with her on my lap. But now we have Jealous over here. He's like, well, if she gets to be on your lap, I want to be on your lap too. So we're gonna, I don't know what he's doing. We're going to try and do this. Here. We're going to try and do this like this. I might not tell you much about these books, or maybe I will. I have no idea what this video is going to be, other than an unhaul. So let's just do it stack by stack. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stacks here. Some of them will go by super quick, some of them not so much. So let's start right here. So first we have The Arrangement right by Robin Harding. I have read this and I did really like it. However, I'm not like a big fan of mass market paperback. In fact, I've talked about it before. I will no longer buy mass market paperback just because if I own one, I won't even read it. I will either get an ebook or I will get an audiobook. Because I don't like the format. But this was a really clever thriller that follows Natalie, who's an art student in New York City, when she comes across somebody who introduces her to being like a sugar baby, and what that entails, and how it like makes you a lot of money. And it talks a lot about like sex work and different aspects of being a sugar baby, like what would you do for money type of situation. And yeah, I enjoyed this a lot more than I thought I would. Then there's Replay by Ken Grimwood. So here's the thing. Emily from Emily Fox Books or whatever, I'll link her channel, but she recommends Replay all the time. And I love a good book that has some kind of time travel or some kind of Groundhog Day effect, and that's what I feel like this is. But I'm just not interested. I don't know what it's about other than the fact that it has some kind of Groundhog Day effect. And I just don't care enough to read it. Wow, I sound harsh. Dear Prince Charming by Donna Kaufman. Fairy Godmother Inc. by Sarah Anna DeWild. And Cinderella.com by River Lauren. I just don't like the fairy tale romance novels. And like, I know that they're not fairy tales. They're all like pretty contemporary except for Fairy Godmother. This one has some kind of magical element. But these, I'm not a huge like fairy girl tropey type of romance reader. I don't read a bunch of romance. I mean, sometimes it's a nice palate cleanser between like the scarier stuff or the more hard-hitting things that I read. But I think at one point I just bought all the romance books regardless of if I was actually legitimately excited for them, and I just need to be better about that. Then I have The Boss's Proposal, which would just go with that stack over there, and if I sell it, it'll be like $2 on Bingo. But then there's The 2 Most Important Days of Your Life by Chad Hymas. Yeah, no idea what that one's about. It came in that big box. Then there's My Gal Sunday by Mary Higgins Clark. Again, it was just in that box. Not something that I was ever interested in. Then there's Winterwood by Shay Earnshaw. This one actually hurts a little because this one was part of a Secret Santa exchange that I did online. And at the time this was on my TBR, it was on my Amazon wish list. But it's young adult. And at this point in my life, I don't read young adult books. I especially don't know who I was kidding when I put a young adult fantasy on my wish list. Like, it sounds cute because there's witches and there's like magical woods that these witches live in. And that's really all that I know. But I don't like young adult. I don't like fantasy. I just gotta rip the Band-Aid off and unhaul it. This is The First Cut by Peter Robinson. There are literal spiders crawling in that book. I think I killed them, but I'm not. Yeah, no, I don't want to touch that book with a 10-foot pole now. Layover by David Bell. but it's blurbed by Riley Sager. And that is one thing that, like, really, I was really excited about because Riley Sager blurbed this. See, here's the thing though. I've read one David Bell book. It was the first book I read in 2023 called The Finalists by David Bell. And it was his newest release. I think it came out in 2022. I hated that book so bad. But now that it's not so fresh and I'm not so salty about hating that book, this one does sound like a book I might actually like by this author. And, like, if I think about it, I read 4 Ruth Ware books before I found one that I actually liked. So, wow. Okay, I haven't looked at these books in a long time. I'm gonna save Layover by David Bell. Whoa. I'm gonna save it because it's a thriller where you follow Joshua, who meets this girl named Morgan at this airport. He's always at the airport because it's part of his routine. I'm wondering if maybe he's a pilot. But he's at the Denver airport when he meets Morgan. There's an instant connection, which don't make me roll my eyes, but she disappears into the crowd, and he sees on the news in that exact moment that Morgan is a missing person, and now he's trying to, like, track her down in the airport before she gets on another plane. I really didn't think I would be saving any of these books. I guess it's a good thing that I kind of put them away for a little bit and didn't really actively unhaul them, but kind of just let it sit for a few on how I'm feeling about them. So this one is The Lost Woman by Sarah Bladell. I butchered that, I'm sorry. I think this is part of a detective series, or there's a detective in it. I'm not going there. I don't like detective books. I love detective TV shows, but I can't connect with detectives in a book. Is that weird? That's probably weird, but anyways. Oh my gosh. All the young adult novels. This might surprise some of y'all too. Trust Me, I'm Lying by Mary Elizabeth Summer. This follows a con artist, and you follow Hulupe. She's a con artist with her mom. Being a liar runs in the family. I think it's going to be drama. It's labeled as a young adult thriller, though. So, you know what? I am realizing that I really like unreliable narrators. And who's more unreliable than a con artist and a liar? Nobody. So, I'm gonna save this one, too. Holy smokes. Okay, let's finish off these young adult. So there's The Name of the Star by Maureen Johnson. This is the first book in the Shades of London series. And, like, it sounds pretty good. It says Jack the Ripper is back and he's coming for Rory next. So Rory moves to London to start a new life in a boarding school. And now the Jack the Ripper is killing people again. I'm going to save this one too, because I did read Stalking Jack the Ripper by Carrie Maniscalco. And I understood the intent of that book, and I did actively enjoy 80% of that book. There was 20% that was just like, I'm gonna roll my eyes, and the romance was like not needed. But I don't like young adult romance anyway, so, but I had fun with stalking Jack the Ripper. Did I have enough fun to finish that series? No. But these could be palate cleansers. I did not think I would be saving any of these. Oh, Lita, you're going to look back at this vlog or this video and be like, why did you save all those? This one I am going to unhaul. This is Cracked Up to Be by Courtney Summers. I really love Courtney Summers' writing, but I didn't love her books like Sadie. I didn't love that as much as everyone else did. I thought it was good and I enjoyed it, but I didn't enjoy it as much as everybody else did. So if I'm going to read Cracked Up to Be, I can get it through my library. In fact, I think it's available to me on Scribd, if I'm not mistaken. Then there's Murder at Sunrise Lake by Christine Beanie. This is part of a series. I think there might be detectives or something. Oh man. Okay. Then I got the first two books in another young adult fantasy series. There's Poison Study and Magic Study by Maria V. Snyder. And I've heard amazing things about this. But again, I don't read fantasy, don't read young adult much anymore. So I'm going to be unhauling those. This is 1,000 Miles to Graceland, but by Kristen Me Chase. This mother-daughter road trip has them all shook up. So I think this follows this girl, Grace, who just got dumped, or she just dumped her boyfriend. And she promised her mom that they would take like a mother-daughter road trip to Graceland. And I love a good road trip. I do. I love road trips in real life, okay? And I don't know. Okay, I guess I have read a couple of books about road trips, but they were like romance road trips, not mother-daughter road trips. And this one was so nicely sent to me from the publisher a couple months ago. Okay, because it came out in January of 2023. I'm gonna save this one too. I do really want to read this, especially like, I think it would be really cool if I had a second copy and me and my mom could buddy read this. So maybe even I could just read this book and then I could kindly send this to my mom if it's a really good book, and we could kind of like, read it together but not together, if that makes sense. And it could be something that we could bond over. And I don't know, I think that would be really cute. So I'm keeping this. Oh my goodness, I'm so proud of myself. Before I Do by Sophie Consensus. You know why this book is in here? It's actually kind of pathetic. If you're a reader, then maybe you understand, maybe not, but sometimes you go through waves of like, you go through slumps, just like in life, like your mood and your mental health is kind of like foggy or whatever, so you lose interest in your hobbies for a little while, or you just get depressed, okay? And you go through slumps where sometimes all you can do is listen to audiobooks, or at least that's me. But if I pick up a physical book to try to read it, it won't work. Before I do, sounds like a cute book. I hated the narration of the audiobook. So I got rid of this book, but you know what? It's like a second chance romance. And, oh wait, no. So, yeah, so Audrey and Josh are getting married, but the night before they're supposed to get married, Josh's baby sister comes to their wedding with a date, and the date's name is Fred. Fred is also Audrey's ex-boyfriend, like the one that got away boyfriend, and it makes her rethink her entire decision to marry Josh. So it sounds kind of messy, but kind of fun. And I'm more in the headspace to actually read a physical book than I was when I put it in the pile to unhaul it. So I'm gonna keep this, and it'll just be one that I read physically because I didn't like the audiobook of it. But just because I don't like a narration of something doesn't mean that I can't read it in my brain. At the time when I put it in there, though, I was very overwhelmed with work and life, and I just had a lot going on. I mean, I always have a lot going on, but like I really had a lot going on, and I just wasn't picking up any physical books. I was listening to 95% of the books that I was reading on audiobook, and the other 5%, it's like kind of a miracle that I was reading them. Then I'm going to be unhauling The Cactus by Sarah Haywood. Even the prickliest cactus has its flowers. Prickliest flower has its cactus has its flowers. Okay, so I bought this because it's a Reese's book club pick. And at one point, I was going to just read all the Reese's book club picks and do a vlog of reading it. I'm not that person. And that's okay. There's like a scary pregnancy. It's like an accidental pregnancy. And somehow that makes this guy marry her just because she's pregnant. And I don't want to read that trope. I'm going to be unhauling You're Invited by Amanda Havasasa. Yeah. She'll wish she never RSVP'd. This was a DNF for me. This follows Rachel, Amaya, who goes to her best friend's wedding, but her best friend is marrying her ex-fiance, her ex-boyfriend, and then her best friend goes missing, and yeah, it's supposed to be like this incredibly entertaining thriller, and I found myself super bored. I'm gonna go through the next few. They were just in that box of books that I bought for $10, and I sold a lot of the books that were in there. These are just some that still haven't been sold or traded or donated yet, but if I don't sell them on Pingo, then I'm definitely going to donate them. There's Morning, Noon, and Night by Sydney Sheldon. So if I don't know anything about these books, it's because I don't know anything about these books. Then there's the Nero Wolf Primer ABC by Rex Stout. I think it's a mystery compared to like Agatha Christie. Webster's crossword puzzle dictionary. I'm probably just gonna donate that, to be honest with you. Okay, these next ones I think are mostly young adult. So we'll quickly go through my young adults books. What I Carry by Jennifer Longo. You guys are not going to be surprised by this at all. I'm going to keep this one. So you follow Mira, who is in foster care. She's been in foster care for a long time. And I think she's like 16 years old. She's getting ready for her like 9th or 10th foster home. And I have no idea what else this book is about, but the fact that it has a young, that it follows a foster care child means that I have to keep it. So I don't know what I was thinking with that one either. The Distance Between Lost and Found by Catherine Holmes. This one I'm not going to read. I will be unhauling this one as well. But it follows like Haley, who had an incident with the preacher's son Luke, and now nothing is the same. Then My Heart and Other Black Holes by Jasmine Wagger. This follows Ansel, who is obsessed with plotting her own death. She's 16 years old. It's going to be a hard-hitting young adult contemporary. It's probably going to be a lot like, if you read this, I'll Be Dead by the Time You Read This by Julianne Peters. This book, but it reminds me just the premise of that book, and I loved that book, but I'm really out of my young adult era, and that's okay. I feel like I finally grown out of it. She says as she saves another young adult book, A Night Twice as Long by Andrew Simmet. This follows this girl named Alex, whose brother was taken out of the house and now he's in foster care. So there's the foster care aspect of this. But more than that, he was taken out of the house because of his autism. And Alex called CPS because of his violent outbursts and because she couldn't communicate well with her brother because he has autism. And that is something that is so near and dear to my heart that I want to read all the books that regard this, that show this. So I don't know what I was thinking when I took that off my TBR. Wow. Then there's Every Summer After by Carly Fortune. I did read this one, and it's supposed to be like a second chance romance. But here's the thing. So if you are at all interested in reading Every Summer After and you haven't yet, this is where you should mute or fast forward. I'm about to go off like a firecracker because I absolutely hated this book so much. First off, it read like a young adult romance, and it's marketed as an adult romance. And second off, more importantly, you follow this girl, I can't even remember her name, Persephone, who, when she was a teenager, she was so in love with her next door neighbor, Sam. And then, of course, because we need drama in a young adult romance, she cheats on her next door neighbor, Sam, with her next door neighbor, Sam's older brother, Percy, she cheats on him with, with Percy. And that kind of blows up their entire relationship. And now, of course, they're going to come together and get back together. Like, no, I just hated everything about this book. This was a Fairy Loot, Illumicrate edition of The Whispering Dark by Kelly Andrew. I bought it at Goodwill knowing that it had like the sprayed edges and that the reversible cover and these in pages and this cover right here. I knew that Illumicrate exclusive books are worth a little bit more, plus it's signed. So I was just planning on selling it. It's not my type of book. The Looking Glass by Richard Paul Evans. This was in that that box of books that I bought for $10. Then there's The Lost Village by Camilla Stein. And like, it's like the Blair Witch Project meets something else. But I'm gonna save it. Oh my gosh. This is a very anticlimactic UnHaul video. I mean, I got rid of a few. Let's keep going. Then I read We Were Blue by E.J. Schwartz. This was a perfectly good book. It's like an LGBT, young adult, hard-hitting contemporary about these girls that are in this center for eating disorders. And I gave it 3 stars. It was fine for me, but I feel like it would be more helpful in someone else's hands. Then there's The Summer Job by Lizzie Dent. I think that Birdie goes somewhere and pretends to be a wine expert, which her sister is, and is pretending to be her sister. I don't remember much about this book, but I know that I read it recently. Oh man, this one hurts, but I'm going to be unhauling Something Wilder by Christina Lauren. They've just had some misses for me, and Something Wilder was definitely one of those misses. I haven't ever liked an Alice Feeney book, so Daisy Darker by Alice Feeney is the next one. Darling Girl by Liz Makowski. So hear me out on this one. I got this one at Goodwill because I knew I wouldn't pick it up like as my choice. In fact, I didn't pick this one, but it was like a dark Peter Pan retelling, but like I don't care. Then The Inheritance of Orquídea Divina by Zordia Cordova. This is a thriller horror about an inheritance that has the inheritance trope, which I always hate the inheritance trope, and I bought it because it was so hyped on BookTube, and like I just really need to stop doing that. The Girls Are All So Nice Here by Lori Elizabeth Flynn will be saved. The Bone House by Brian Freeman, but I just don't care. Along with The Distant Dead by Heather Young. I'm not ever gonna pick that up. So there's the PDR Pocket Guide to Prescription Drugs. That one was just in that thing, along with Trouble in Paradise. That was also in that big box. Blood Memory by Margaret Cole. That was in the box. Oh, okay. Okay, fine. Let's take this bandage off. So I got a few books thinking that I would do a sci-fi reading vlog. I attempted that sci-fi reading vlog. I attempted like 4 different books, and some of them I own physically, some of them I don't. but I'm just not a sci-fi girly, and I need to stop pretending. So let's just like, let's take this bandage off. We don't have to talk about it. The Gunslinger by Stephen King. The Martian by Andy Weir. I have tried to read this one several times, and I never get very far, so it's time for me just to say goodbye. The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. This one is a thriller, but I did not realize it's like a detective POV, and I read over half of this book, and I was so bored. And There He Kept Her by Joshua Moling. So She Lies in Wait by Guy Lodge. Sounds really good because it's like a camping story, and this girl goes missing when these 6 teenagers go camping. But now it's like 30 years later, and her body has finally been found. And one of the friends that was camping with her the night she went missing is now like the lead detective on the case. It's Always the Husband by Michelle Campbell, a thriller. The Starter Wife by Nina Lauren. Girl at the Edge by Karen Dittridge. Dial A for Aunties by Jessie Q. Centeno. Crystal Protections from 5G. I did not realize it was crystal protection from 5G because apparently I can't read. But I just thought it was crystal protection and was really excited for that. These were also in that box of books. There's In Close by Brenda Novak and The Death List by Paul Johnston. Then there's Want to Go Private by Sarah Dar Littman. I'm going to keep this one too because this one follows Abby and Luke. They meet online and they start talking and they fall in love and they're teenagers. And when Abby goes to meet Luke in real life, she finds out that he is not the man in the pictures. Dun dun dun! Witches of Ash and Ruin by E. Latimer. This one is like a stunning book, to be honest with you. But again, I don't read young adult, I don't read fantasy. And The Most Likely Club by Elsa Fridland. I have no idea where I got this or why. I know I did not pick this as my book of the month, because when I saw it on Book of the Month, I was rolling my eyes and I'm like, ew, that doesn't sound like a book for me. Then there's No True Believers by Robbie York Lombard. Trust No One. So this follows this Muslim teenager, Salma, who around the times that there are terrorist attacks going on by Muslim people, and then she kind of gets shunned at school because she's Muslim and people are ignorant and stupid. And I do think that this is going to be a wonderful novel. Like, it's going to be really hard-hitting and probably give you all the feels. However, it's young adult, and for me to keep a young adult at this point in my life, it has to be something that's just going to rip my heart out. And this one will be very beneficial to someone, but I'm not the right person. Alright, this is my last stack of books that are likely being UnHauled. I'm not going to say for sure because I did save a few of them and I wasn't expecting that. Interesting. But we have Size 12 Is Not Fat by Meg Cabot. I've that all by now, but I'm going to save this one as well. I think that I let the fact that Heather Wells is a rock star, like, scare me away from wanting to read this. but I think there are so many layers to this story, and that's just part of it. So I am willing to give this one a shot. Then we have The Man I Never Met by L. Cook. This was so kindly sent to me from Random House Publishing. So it came out in November of 2022, and I've had it since before that, and I'm not interested in this one. Then we have The House Next Door by Darcy Coates. I don't know why I'm unhauling this one, to be honest with you. So it's like a haunted house story. I'm not interested in reading a Darcy Coates book anymore. Okay. Not the Girl You Married by Andy J. Christopher. This is kind of like a gender swapped How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. And it sounds so cute. However, I think it's the second in a series. So I'm going to put this one to the side, like I'm going to save it for now. But when I look into it, if it is the second in a series, then it will be unhauled as well. Mr. Perfect on Paper by Jen Metzler. No idea why I said I was unhauling it. I'm going to save it. It's a romance. One Got Away by S.A. LeChoc. This one was in a blind date with a book that I got, and I was super excited for it. However, this is the second in a series, and I know a lot of you are going to be like, well, it's like a detective series or something like that, Private Investigator, and you don't have to read those in order, but with my brain, you do have to read them in order, and I'm not invested enough to get the first one in the series. Then these were also in that book box thing. There's Journey to Pashikins and High School Musical. I thought about keeping both of these for my students, but I'm not entirely sure if they know what High School Musical is. They make me feel old every single day of my life because they don't get any of the references that I make, and I do not get any of theirs either. So I'm just going to unhaul those and be okay with that. The rest of these I read in the month of April, and I did not like them enough to keep them. So that's why they're here. There's Love at First Like by Hannah Ornstein. Hannah Ornstein is not the author for me. I liked one of her books, and that book will continue to be one of my favorites for a while, but I won't read anything else by that author. Razorblade Tears by S.A. Cosby did not live up to the hype for me, and that's okay. Everything We Didn't Say by Nicole Bart was not a thriller. It's just a messed up family drama. This one hurts the most. The Only Survivors by Megan Miranda. I was bored to tears with this book. I didn't like any of the characters. I was bored, and honestly, it just didn't make sense. I hated the ending. I guess I technically DNF'd, there were 100 pages left, and I skimmed the last 100, and then I went to Goodreads and read a bunch of spoilers. So I know what happens, but I was so bored. I never know how to end these unhauls, but I did find a few that maybe I will like. At least I'm going to give them a chance. So if you got nothing out of this video other than seeing me panic and change my mind and be like, ooh, maybe I'll love this book, then I hope you enjoyed it and got to laugh at me a little. Don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more of Jelly Bean and Bella, because we both know that they are the true stars of the show. So, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope you enjoyed this video. Say bye-bye. Say bye-bye. Say bye, friends. Say bye, friends. Yes, my babies. My babies.